In this video, we're going to talk about the new shoe on the market in disc golf, Vessis. Alright, so I bought these 90 days ago and I've given them 3 months. I've only played disc golf in Vessis for the last 3 months basically. As you know, I live in the Pacific Northwest, so it is very rainy here in the winter and it has snowed on a couple occasions, so I got to test them in both of those environments. So today, I want to sit down with you guys and give you a review of what I think about this shoe. Now, shoes are a lot personal preference, right? Looks are personal preference. The way that a shoe fits and the comfort is going to be based on your foot size and your foot shape. So I'm not saying what I have to say is the bottom line on these shoes, but I'm going to give you guys what I think about them, what they do right, what they do wrong, and what I think where they stack up in kind of the disc golf market. So to begin, we're going to talk about looks. I gave them a 7 out of 10 in looks because I think they're fairly nice looking. They're fairly fashionable. You can wear them around and people aren't going to give you funny looks. They look pretty good. I think looks-wise, they do the job. They're not fantastic looking. Their colorways are okay. They could be a bit better. But other than the fact that they kind of have this big bottom and then kind of a much smaller top where it kind of looks like you're standing on a platform of some type, I think they're pretty good looking. 7 out of 10 of looks. Next category is going to be sports specificity. So we play disc golf. This is a disc golf channel. How do these shoes work for disc golf specifically? So disc golf is kind of a hybrid sport in that for like power transfer sports, right? Like throwing, like most throwing sports, lifting sports, where you want to be putting power to the ground and getting ground force so that you can, throw hard or lift something. You kind of want as little material as possible between your heel and the ground, right? So that's where people lifting in Converse or squat shoes with a wooden heel, right? You can have more material between your heel and the ground if it's a hard material. But you don't really want to have squishy material between any part of your foot and the ground when you're trying to focus on outputting power, okay? So that's one place where I think Vessi is kind of in the middle. So something like a Vivo barefoot shoe is like 0 heel drop, and Vessi doesn't specify what this heel drop is, but I guarantee you it's not 0. These are the Stormburst, by the way. So for putting power to the ground, like disc golf, you need to have both. You need to have good ability to put power to the ground, but you need to have enough comfort and padding so that your feet don't get crazy fatigued when you're hiking around courses, up and down hills, over all kinds of terrain, right? I think Vessi does an okay job at this. There is too much padding, in my opinion, between your foot and the ground in these shoes. I'm not a big fan of barefoot shoes for disc golf. I think it causes unnecessary fatigue to your feet, which obviously if your feet are fatigued, and they do get better with time, but you're still going to feel it when you play multiple rounds a day in barefoot shoes over rocky terrain and hills and stuff. So I think like barefoot shoes are too far in the other direction, and these are just a little bit too far in the squishy direction, right? The power transfer isn't quite there for what I like to see in a disc golf shoe, right? You want basically the minimal amount of padding that allows you to be comfortable playing a disc golf round. And I think these overshoot a little bit. There's a lot of material, squishy material here, kind of between your heel and the ground, and that just is going to affect force output, right? So I'm going to keep sports specificity to just the kind of padding versus power output argument, and I'm going to give these a 6 out of 10. I think there are better shoes on the market right now for outputting power and staying comfortable in a disc golf round than these. But I have some other categories coming up that I think Vessi is going to win pretty hard in. And one of those is durability. So I've had these for 90 days. I've played a ton of rounds in them. I try to play once or twice a day. I usually practice every day some amount. And these have held up phenomenally. These are, I didn't clean them or anything. These are 90 days with Vessis. They are no worse for the wear. There is no like toe going away. The sole is staying on very well. Everything is working perfectly, and I could wear these for probably another 90 days, no problem. I have tried shoes in the past, like Vivos, that I just annihilated in a week or two. And there are even some trail running or hiking shoes, approach shoes like Merrell, Adidas Terrex, that I've also destroyed pretty quickly. The Vessis did not have that problem. These are very durable shoes. You won't have to replace these quickly. I was actually surprised by how durable. I thought the quality might be really bad, especially after trying Idios. But these held up really good. So durability is one place that I think Vessi excels, and I'm going to give these a 9 out of 10 in durability. Having had them for 90 days, I can go through a pair of shoes pretty dang quick. I'm like a toddler walking around. I'm just scraping my feet on everything, and pretty heavy guy. I play in very rocky terrain. I march through the mud, the snow, blah, blah, blah. These have held up. The next category where Vessi is, I think, the best shoe on the market right now is waterproofing. I have played, 100 freaking rainy rounds in these, or at least thrown in a field and walked out and got them in the mud and stepping in puddles. I've marched through the snow in these. I'm talking ankle high, entire shoe, under snow, no problem. It was like wearing snow boots. Like, the waterproofing on these is phenomenal, and when you see commercials of people like walking into a stream to get their disc, you can 100% do that. You can put these on, walk into a stream to the top of the shoe, grab your disc, and walk out without getting any piece of you wet. That's how good the waterproofing is on these. It is phenomenal. The best part about this shoe is you will not have to worry about wet conditions ever when wearing them. I'm giving these a 10 out of 10 for waterproofing because they are probably the shoes I would pick if I was going to play a wet round, if I was going to play a round in the snow. I would pick these even despite some of the other categories. Next, we're going to talk about comfort. Like I said, this is kind of personal to your foot shape, and I'm going to go over some things about that. Vessis are fairly comfortable. There are some issues though. One, they only sell these in whole sizes, which I think is a huge mistake. For disc golf, right, or any sport where you're moving quickly or wanting to output power, you really want your shoe to fit well. Right? If your shoe is too big, you're going to slide around in it when you're trying to like brace or even like walk downhill, right? If you've ever worn too big of shoes and walked down like a hill, you're going to find your toes are like sliding into the front of the shoe, and it really irritates them pretty badly. And on the same note, if your shoes are too small for you in disc golf, you're going to feel that very quickly when you're hiking up and down hills and mountains and stuff. You're going to notice if your shoe's too small for you, it's going to irritate the crap out of your feet, and your feet are going to hurt like a mofo by the end of the round. And that was one of the big issues I had with these. Since they only sell in whole sizes, I wear a 10.5. I measured my foot. It was exactly on the 10, according to their site. So I said, you know what? I'll go with the 10. I do like, when I'm playing sports, I like my shoes to be a little snugger. I don't want to be sliding around at all costs. So I got a 10 in these. And I have to say, I think it was a slightly too small. I'm worried that if I went up to 11, I would have the exact opposite problem where I would have been sliding around a little bit in them. But the other thing is, these are a pretty low volume shoe. For me, I have pretty high volume feet usually, and I found that my toes were kind of stretching out this upper pretty hardcore, and it kind of felt like I was standing on top of like a rubber platform or something. It was a little odd, and maybe I'll splice in some clips to show you guys kind of my toes like almost bulge out the very front of this. But these were not comfortable for me. The other thing is, I feel like the big amount of like foam in the heel gives you that, like, if you're one of those people who gets Achilles pain, like in your Achilles tendon, from like having too much heel toe drop when you're walking around for like long periods of time, these cause that. 100%, these will cause your Achilles tendon to get pissed off if you're, one of those people who doesn't like a lot of heel toe drop. So I had that where my Achilles would get sore after a while, and I also just had my toes getting destroyed. Whether it was too small or just too low volume or whatever, That was the biggest complaint I had about this shoe. And I think that if the comfort would have been higher, I would have probably stuck to them a little bit longer, or at least kept them around to wear during rain or snowy rounds. I think it's the biggest place where they do wrong. One of the things I will say that is nice about these shoes is you can, like, these are pretty snug on me, but I can still slip them on. So they're very stretchy, and you can see here, I don't know if you can actually see the angle, but you can see here, just my toes are very snug at the front of these, and the side of my foot is even very snug here. These are lower volume shoes, but it is nice that you can slip them on and off like that. I could just bring them with me in the car, and when I got to the course, I could just slip them both on, leave them laced, and go play my round. It didn't feel like I was sliding around or anything, even with the ability to slip them on. So I really like that in a shoe. If I can slip it on and off, but it still feels good doing athletic stuff, big plus for me. In the end, though, comfort was the biggest issue I had with this shoe, and I gave it a 5 out of 10 on the comfort rating, just because for me, I would like to see them offer a little bit higher volume of a shoe. It's not going to work for everyone's feet when you offer such a low volume upper, and I mean, we've seen that in lots of shoe brands. I'm in kind of an ex-rock climber, and they do low volume and high volume climbing shoes. And if you're a high volume foot guy and you try to put a low volume shoe on, it is just not happening. So I think these kind of struggle with that problem too. Traction. These did okay. I get to play in muddy, rainy, rocky, hilly conditions, and these held up okay. I did have a few times where I think I slipped a little bit that I would not have slipped in like a trail running shoe or a hiking shoe. So not perfect, but pretty good. I'd probably give these a 7 out of 10 when it comes to traction. The other thing is the tread pattern, right? For a sport like disc golf, you really need quite a bit of side-to-side traction, but you don't need too much front-to-back traction. And these seem like they have kind of a running or walking tread pattern, where most of the resistance on the tread is going back to front. So you're going to be pushing off this way, where in disc golf, we see a lot of need for pushing on the insole. And these really don't have anything specific to accommodate that. No side-to-side tread patterns, not even a kind of a diamond tread pattern like a lot of hiking shoes have. So you get kind of the side-to-side traction and the front-to-back at the same time. Next, we're talking price. These are $150, right? I think that you can find them on sale for like 10% off sometimes. I know that Bedanza has a code. So yeah, I think I used his code to purchase these, which I did purchase these with my own money. These are not sponsored. I did not get sent these. I just wanted to try them for myself because I live in the Pacific Northwest and it's rainy as crap here. But do I think these are worth $150? I'm not totally sure. I don't think so. I have some other shoes that I think are a little better than these in terms of build quality, and they cost less than $150. So I would say that these are probably a good $120 shoe. I think they're slightly overpriced at $150, but they are very durable. So it's not like you're going to be wasting your money if you do buy these. They do last a long time, and if you have a lower volume foot and you play in wet conditions, $150 might be a good spot for you. So I'm going to give these a 6 out of 10 on pricing. I think they're pretty close to their mark. $120, $125 is where I would like to see a shoe like this at. Not that I'm a freaking shoe expert, but that's what I feel like this would be worth to me, especially if it lasts about 6 to 8 months, which is where I would guess this shoe would start seeing some issues. And honestly, that's most shoes when you play disc golf really hard. $120, $125, I would be happier. Total rating. I'm going to give these a 7.5 out of 10 stars. These are some of the best shoes I have used playing disc golf. And honestly, if the comfort and the heel drop was a little better, I think they would be my shoes that I just kept buying over and over. So what do I think they can improve? I would say they should either offer a high volume version of this shoe, or offer half sizes, right? You need to have a good fitting shoe when you're doing a sport, and not offering half sizes is just, it's cringe. So that's one thing they could improve. And then if you really want to get into the disc golf market and be like disc golf specific, all of the sole like design is made for putting motion forward, right? Which we're not really doing in disc golf. Forward is like for running, where disc golf, a lot of it is diagonal or sideways forces, right? Where you need the traction. And a shred like this is okay at it, but you could probably have a little bit better, right? A little bit better stopping power sideways. So yeah, for sports specificity stuff, I'd like to see a little bit more side-to-side traction, a little bit kind of either half sizes or a bigger volume toe box, and then just a little bit less of this foam removed from, or a little bit less of this foam in the heel. I would like to see less, like either less heel toe drop or just less overall volume of this foam comfortability, because the comfort problems I had was not from the sole not being soft enough, right? I think it was just a little too soft, if anything. It was from the toe box. So I think they could do away with a little bit of this and give a little bit more of that performance aspect, kind of like a cross trainer type shoe where you got enough padding where you could run if you want to, but you don't have so much padding where when you go to a freaking deadlift, you're wobbling all over the place because your sole is unstable. So yeah, that is my unbiased Vessi review after 90 days using this shoe. If you want me to do any more reviews like this, let me know. I do have Idios, and I have a new shoe that I'm using instead of these that I'm absolutely in love with. So hopefully if those stand up, for the next 90 days, I'll come out with a review for those as well. I try to use them for a prolonged period of time before I give an opinion on them, because it does take some time for them to break in, for you to get used to them, and kind of to test the durability, really. Like, you don't know if a shoe's going to last for a long time if you only use it for a month. So yeah, if you guys are interested in this, like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Peace.